Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive.
Yeah.
We're really diving deep today into how raw data is being transformed into, well, pretty much everything these days.
Yeah, it really is amazing to see how data is reshaping every industry.
We've got a whole stack of articles about this idea of innovation and disruption, specifically in construction and the automotive industry. So many changes happening there.
Yeah, those are two industries that are seeing massive shifts right now.
But one article really caught my eye. It's called Data to Disruption: How to Turn Raw Information into Revolutionary Products. It's like they wrote the playbook for the future with this one. I'm really excited to get into it.
Yeah, that's a great one. It really highlights how we're moving beyond just analyzing data.
Right. We're not just talking about like running numbers anymore.
Exactly. It's about turning that data into actual products and services, things that we can actually use and interact with.
Things we haven't even dreamed of yet. Okay, so let's break this down for our listeners.
Yeah, let's do it.
This article talks about the idea of a data-to-product innovation lab.
Oh, yeah, that's a really interesting concept.
So imagine like a startup, right?
Okay.
That takes something like, say, a retailer's sales data. You know, all that information they collect about what people are buying?
Huge amounts of data.
Tons of it, and then they add a little, sprinkle in some AI magic.
A little AI fairy dust.
Exactly. And boom, suddenly they're predicting future trends.
Like what people will want to buy before they even know they want it.
Right. They're designing products customers haven't even realized they need yet.
It's almost like predicting the future of consumer behavior.
And the thing is, this isn't some far-off fantasy.
Nope, not at all.
This is happening right now.
Oh, right.
Companies are popping up with this as their sole mission, turning data into these disruptive new products.
It's a really exciting time to be watching this space unfold.
The potential market upside is, well, huge. I can't even imagine the possibilities.
Huge is an understatement, I think.
But how do these companies actually pull it off? Where do they even start with something like that?
It all begins with the raw data, of course. That's the foundation.
Okay, sure. But I mean, everyone has data these days, right?
Right. But it's not just about having it. You need to know what questions to ask of the data. That's where it gets interesting.
So it's not enough to just be swimming in data. You got to know how to swim.
Exactly. Instead of just looking at, say, what customers are buying, you might ask, what problems are customers trying to solve?
Ooh, that's a good one, yeah.
That subtle shift in perspective can lead to entirely new product categories. You're not just reacting to existing demand, you're anticipating future needs.
So it's about looking beyond the obvious and finding those hidden needs within the data, like a data detective.
I like that, data detective. And to be an effective detective, you need the right tools. This is where AI and machine learning becomes so crucial.
Okay, so AI is our magnifying glass and fingerprint kit.
Exactly. These technologies can sift through massive data sets, far more than any human could handle, and identify patterns that we might completely miss.
So it's like AI is uncovering clues within the data that point to new product opportunities, like a digital detective.
I love that analogy. AI as our digital detective. And once you have those insights, those clues, you need to have a culture that embraces experimentation. You have to be willing to try new things, even if they might not work out.
Right, because not every idea is going to be a winner.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
But you have to be willing to take risks and potentially fail.
That's that whole freedom to fail concept that we're seeing more and more. It's almost counterintuitive, but it makes sense.
Exactly. If you're too afraid to fail, you'll never push boundaries and achieve truly disruptive breakthroughs.
And that's where those massive potential market upsides come into play. The companies who embrace this approach, turning data into game-changing solutions, they're the ones who will define the future.
Absolutely. They'll be the ones leading the way.
Okay, so we've got the data, the tools, the mindset. But who's actually going to lead this charge? Is it going to be the big tech giants, or will we see scrappy startups taking the reins?
That's a fascinating question, and I honestly don't think there's a single answer. We're seeing innovation happening across the board.
So it's like everyone's jumping into the data pool, big companies, small companies, everyone's trying to make a splash.
I like that analogy. It's a very crowded pool, but that's what makes it so dynamic and exciting. Big tech companies have the resources and infrastructure, of course.
Right, they've got the deep pockets.
But startups are often more agile and willing to take risks. They're not afraid to shake things up.
And then you've got individual innovators and researchers, people working in their garages and labs, pushing the boundaries of what's even possible with data.
Exactly. It's a real mix of players, and that's what makes it so interesting to watch.
So it's like a massive collaborative effort. Everyone's contributing to this wave of data-driven disruption.
I think that's a great way to put it. It's a collective push towards a future powered by data.
And speaking of pushing boundaries, let's shift gears for a second and talk about something that surprised me. One of the articles we have today focuses on the construction industry.
Oh yeah, Virginia Tech establishes new facility for School of Construction. That one caught my eye as well.
I mean, construction, it doesn't exactly scream cutting-edge technology at first glance, does it?
It might seem like an odd pairing at first, but when you think about it, the potential is huge. Construction is an industry that's ripe for disruption. Think about all the inefficiencies, the safety risks, the waste. Data has the power to transform all of that.
So you're saying we could see a future where robots are building skyscrapers?
Potentially. Or even something as simple as using AI to optimize the layout of a construction site, to minimize waste and improve workflow.
That's incredible. But how does all of this data actually get used on a construction site? Like, are we talking sensors and drones and all that?
You got it. Think about all the information generated during a construction project. You have blueprints, material specs, weather data, worker schedules. It's a massive amount of data. And by collecting and analyzing all of that data in real time, companies can identify potential problems before they even arise.
That's amazing. So it's like having a crystal ball that can predict construction delays and cost overruns.
In a way, yes. Data can help you anticipate challenges and make more informed decisions throughout the entire construction process. And it can also help optimize resource allocation, making sure you have the right materials and workers in the right place at the right time.
So it's not just about robots replacing human workers. It's about using data to enhance their capabilities and make the whole process smarter and more efficient.
Precisely. And that's just one example of how this whole data to disruption concept is playing out in the real world. We're seeing similar trends in the automotive industry, where companies are using data to develop self-driving cars, optimize traffic flow, and even personalize the driving experience.
Speaking of the automotive industry, there's another article here that really caught my attention. Navigating Automotive Disruption. It really painted a picture of a future that's both exciting and, honestly, a little bit unnerving.
Yeah, it's a pretty wild ride that we're on with the automotive industry right now.
It feels like everything's changing at once. Electric vehicles are taking off, self-driving cars are on the horizon, and new mobility services are popping up everywhere. It's a complete reinvention of how we think about transportation.
It's a massive shift, and it's all being fueled by data. Data about traffic patterns, driver behavior, energy consumption, the list goes on and on.
It's incredible to think about how something as seemingly simple as data can have such a profound impact on our lives and the world around us.
It really is mind-boggling when you think about it.
It makes you wonder what other industries are ripe for this kind of data-driven disruption. What other hidden opportunities are just waiting to be unlocked?
That's a great question, and I honestly think the possibilities are endless. From healthcare to education to entertainment, virtually every industry can benefit from this approach. There's so much untapped potential out there.
And that's what makes this whole conversation so fascinating. We're not just talking about technology, we're talking about the future of, well, everything.
It really is a fundamental shift in how we approach problem solving and innovation.
And the best part is we're all part of this journey. We're all contributing to this data-driven revolution, whether we realize it or not.
That's a really empowering thought. It means we all have a role to play in shaping the future.
It is empowering, it's exciting, and it makes me really curious to see where all of this leads. But for now, let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll delve into another industry that's being transformed by data, the music industry.
Oh, yeah. That's going to be a good one. I can't wait to dig into that.
Stay tuned. Welcome back, everyone. So before the break, we we're talking about data transforming industries, and I think the music industry is a great example of that.
Oh, absolutely. This article we have, Future-Focused Music Industry Strategies, talks about how music industry strategy in the digital world is shifting towards disruptive innovation. I mean, think about it. The digital realm in music, streaming, algorithms, virtual concerts, it's practically an entirely new world.
It's crazy to think about how an industry that was so reliant on physical albums and live shows has had to completely reinvent itself for the digital age.
It's a whole new ballgame, and it's fascinating to see how artists and businesses are adapting. And you know, this disruption has opened doors for new players to come in and shake things up.
Oh yeah, it's not just the established labels anymore.
Yeah.
Anyone with a laptop and a good internet connection can potentially reach a global audience.
That's right. And it's not just about the technology itself, it's about how businesses are using it strategically.
Okay, so give me an example. How are they actually using data to innovate in the music industry?
Well, the article mentions that some artists are turning to data analytics to, really understand their fan base.
Like who's listening to their music, where they're listening, all that.
Exactly. This allows them to tailor their music, their marketing, their whole approach to specific demographics, and they can even try to predict which songs have the potential to become hits.
That's wild. So you're saying algorithms could help musicians write chart-topping hits?
It's an interesting thought, isn't it? But I think data should be used to enhance creativity, not replace it. It's a tool, not a replacement for the artist.
I see what you mean. It's like having a co-writer who can analyze trends and offer suggestions, but ultimately the artist still has the final say.
Exactly. And that's a really important point to keep in mind as we see more and more AI being used in creative fields. But, we also have to think about the human element in all of this. How are these disruptions impacting the artists themselves?
That's a good question. On the one hand, these digital platforms have opened up so many opportunities for independent artists. They can reach a global audience without needing record label contracts.
Right. Think about platforms like Spotify and SoundCloud. They've democratized music distribution in a way that was unimaginable just a few decades ago.
But there's also the flip side to that, isn't there? I mean, we hear a lot about artists struggling to make a living in the streaming era.
Yeah, that's a valid concern. The way we consume music has changed so drastically, and the revenue models haven't necessarily caught up.
So it's like the industry is still figuring out how to make this new model work for everyone.
That's right. There's a lot of debate around how to ensure artists are fairly compensated for their work in this new landscape. It's an ongoing conversation.
It seems like every industry we've looked at today, from construction to automotive to music, is facing its own set of disruptions and challenges.
It's a time of massive change, that's for sure.
But one thing that stands out to me is the need for agility, adaptability, a willingness to embrace the unknown.
Absolutely. And the ability to see disruption not as a threat, but as an opportunity for growth and innovation.
Companies and individuals who can ride this wave of change and leverage the power of data, they're the ones who will be shaping the future.
I think that's a great takeaway from our conversation today.
It's really fascinating how this theme of data as a catalyst keeps coming up,
Yeah, it's definitely a recurring theme in a lot of these articles we've been looking at.
It's not just about collecting data, it's about actually using it strategically to create something entirely new.
It's about turning data into action, into innovation.
Exactly. And that brings me to something that's been on my mind. How do businesses actually implement this shift? It's one thing to talk about data-driven disruption, but actually making it happen, and that's a whole other challenge.
It's a great question, and it's something that a lot of businesses are grappling with right now. It's not a simple fix. It's a multifaceted challenge. It's not going to happen overnight.
So where do they even begin?
Well, I think the first step is to really cultivate a data-driven culture within the organization.
Okay, what does that even mean? Like having data dashboards everywhere?
It's more than just dashboards. It's about moving beyond simply collecting data and actually integrating it into every facet of the business.
So it's about making data part of the DNA of the company.
Exactly. From product development to marketing to customer service and even supply chain management, data should be informing every decision.
But that's a huge shift, right? It's not just about implementing new software, it's about changing how people think and work.
Absolutely, and that's where leadership plays a crucial role. Leaders need to champion this data-driven approach. They need to set clear goals and empower their teams to experiment, to try new things, and to use data to drive those decisions.
So it's not just about having the right technology in place, it's about having the right mindset, the right leadership to guide that transformation.
It's both, really. You need the technology to collect and analyze all that data, but you also need the human element to make sense of it all. You need people who can ask the right questions, draw meaningful insights from that data, and translate those insights into actionable strategies.
It's that human-technology partnership that we keep coming back to, that balance between the two. But even with the right mindset and the right technology, where do these companies find the expertise to actually navigate this new world of data?
That's a big hurdle for a lot of companies, and there are a few different approaches they can take. One option is to invest in training and development programs to upskill their existing workforce.
So giving their current employees the skills they need to work with data.
Exactly. Help them become data literate, so to speak. Another option is to partner with external experts. There are specialized data analytics firms and consultancies that can provide that expertise on a project basis.
So they can either build the expertise in-house or bring it in from the outside.
Exactly. And in some cases, it might be a combination of both. It really depends on the specific needs and resources of the company.
And as we've talked about, this whole shift towards data is happening across industries. Construction, automotive, music. It's a global phenomenon. But I'm curious, who do you think will ultimately own this transition? Who will be the leaders in this data-driven future?
That's the million-dollar question, and I honestly don't think there's one clear answer. We're seeing leadership emerging from all different directions. You have the established tech giants with their vast resources and infrastructure.
Yeah, the big players, the ones who are already steeped in data.
Right. But then you also have these agile startups disrupting traditional models with innovative new data-driven solutions. They're not afraid to challenge the status quo.
It's like that classic David and Goliath story playing out in the tech world.
Exactly. And then you also have universities and research institutions pushing the boundaries of what's possible with AI and data analytics.
So it's almost like a massive collaborative effort. Everyone's contributing to this data-driven revolution in their own way.
And that's what makes it so exciting. There's room for everyone to participate and contribute, regardless of their background or industry. It's about embracing this new paradigm, this data-driven way of thinking and problem solving.
And using that to create positive change, to make things better, to innovate.
Exactly. And for anyone listening who's ready to dive deeper into this world of data and innovation, there are so many great resources out there. One that I always recommend is IdeaData.
Oh yeah, IdeaData is fantastic.
It's a platform that connects professionals in AI, tech, and business from all these leading companies, like IBM, MetLife, Amazon, you name it. Their newsletter is a goldmine of insights and information on all the latest trends and developments.
It's a must-read for anyone who wants to stay ahead of the curve. You can find the link in our show notes.
Definitely check it out. And beyond that, just stay curious. Read articles, listen to podcasts like this one, attend webinars, just engage in conversations about this stuff. The more you learn and explore, the better equipped you'll be to navigate this whole data-driven world.
It's all about embracing that lifelong learning mindset.
Absolutely. The world's changing so fast. The only way to keep up is to constantly be learning, adapting, and evolving.
Couldn't agree more.
Oh, where?
Well, we've covered a lot of ground today, haven't we? From the power of data to drive innovation to the importance of cultivating that data-driven culture. And it's clear data is no longer just a buzzword. It's the driving force behind the future.
And we're all part of that future. We all have the potential to shape it, to use data to make things better.
So let's embrace that opportunity. Let's use data to build a better future for ourselves and for generations to come. And on that note, thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the world of data and disruption.
It's been a pleasure. Always great to chat about this stuff.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.